Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you some very exciting news. Now, this is a rumour, but ladies and gentlemen, it is a very good rumour. You see, an anonymous source from Japan has told me about a new supporter card that's coming. And oh my goodness, this is going to be a really good supporter card. Now you might be thinking, hang on a second, Wassy, anonymous source. Why should I believe your anonymous Japanese source? Well, remember that time I told you about the new Sceptile that was going to be coming that gave you immunity from Ultra Beasts? And then it turned out to be exactly right. And then remember how I spoiled Rayquaza GX early? And that turned out to be exactly right. I'll put links to all 4 of those videos in the description. The prediction and then the reveal. So I feel at this stage pretty gosh darn good, given that the 2 previous times I've done this, it has in fact turned out to be completely accurate. So I think it's fair to assume that it will be this time. Though, as I've said, it is a source that wishes to remain anonymous. Suffice to say, it is not one of the people we regularly talk about on this channel, because if it was, well, we wouldn't be keeping it anonymous then, would we? We'd be thanking them like we always do. So, it is a new supporter card coming out, and it is going to be the box promo for the next set, which I assume when they say that, they mean Explosive Impact, which means this card will be coming in Sun and Moon 8, Lost Thunder, as it's known over here. And as a quick reminder, these box promos are alternate art versions of cards from the set. And this actually rings doubly true, because when Sceptile was leaked, it was a box promo. I don't know for a fact, but I assume the deal is that some shops, distributors, whoever it might be, get news about the boxes early, and that news will include the box promo. So this seems to check out on many levels. It's called Professor Elm's Lecture. And it reads, no image obviously, sorry about that. Search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon with 60 HP or fewer, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Ladies and gentlemen, this is awesome. It's not quite Brigette, although it will be a nice little replacement for it. And it's not quite Pokemon Collector. That's a card that's so good I don't think we're ever going to be getting a new one of those. But it is very much in the same vein. It is a supporter card that we are going to use to get set up on the first turn of the game. It is a card that many decks are going to want, because, well, these decks are a lot less consistent when you take away Brigette. Now, first thing to point out here, this is only for Pokemon with 60 HP or less. So your big Pokemon, things like Oranguru for instance, or things like the promo Tapu Koko, they're out, ladies and gentlemen. You ain't getting them with this supporter. Having said that, that's why Arceus invented stuff like Nest Ball. And let's face it, we're still all going to be playing 4 Ultra Balls in our deck. This is a way of getting rolling with your lower HP Pokemon. But the bigger issue here is, it will exclude 70 HP Pokemon. So things like Vikavolt, Tapu Bulu, you really need to get multiple grubbing out on the first turn of the game. And the issue with that is that Grubbin has 70 HP. And there is no other Grubbin here. If you're playing Grubbin in the Pokemon trading card game at the moment, your option is you have to go for the 70 HP Grubbin, which means Professor Elm's Lecture is not going to work with this particular card. Sad but true. But there's plenty of 60 HP Pokemon out there. Routes has 60 HP. Zorua has 60 HP. Here's the thing which really makes me curious. Is this card going to be good enough to make us play 60 HP Pokemon? So let's take, for instance, Greninja GX. At the moment, we've got a 70 HP Froakie. And the general rule is you play a 70 HP Froakie rather than a 60 HP Froakie. Although actually, when we hit rotation, your options are going to be 70 HP or 50 HP, which is actually even worse. If you want a more relevant example, how about we look at Rockruff, sees a lot of play at the moment. And the question is, do we go the 70 HP one from Forbidden Light, or the 60 HP one with Corner from Guardians Rising? At the moment, the 70 HP one seems better. Things like Buzzwole hitting on the bench with Jet Punch twice will KO 60 HP, but not a 70 HP. A combination of a Greninja and a Latios will KO a 60 HP but not a 70 HP. I've spent all this time in the past telling you more HP is always better, and most of the time that's true. But now we have a real concrete incentive to play 60 HP basics. That's not to say it's definitely going to force everyone to go 60 HP. It is to say that now it's going to be a real question. So, we know what it does, and we know it's 60 HP only. Is it really going to see play in a whole bunch of decks? And as far as I'm concerned, oh my goodness, the answer here is yes. So let's take a deck, for instance, like Gardevoir. Gardevoir's built around your routes. Now, maybe you want to play the odd Vulpix, but that's alright, because Alolan Vulpix has 60 HP, so you can go and grab that as well. Used to be that you'd want to grab Remoraid, and certainly in Expanded that will still be an option, but again in Expanded Brigitte's still an option. Unfortunately, Remoraid has gone away. But in a deck like Gardevoir, this is going to be absolutely invaluable for getting those basics onto the board on your first turn. A deck like Zoroark is going to want to see those turn 1 Zorua. The real thing is, though, what's your partner with Zoroark? Because if you're partnering with Gardevoir, for instance, 60 HP routes, you're good to go. But if you're partnering with Garbodor, then unfortunately you're stuck with a 70 HP Trubbish. That is not really what we're looking for here, because now you're not going to be able to go and get it with Professor Round's Lecture. We have had some 60 HP Trubbishes in the past. Unfortunately, we don't have any at the moment. Sad face, etc. So let's talk of a 70 HP Trubbish which can't be grabbed with this. And all this goes to say it really depends on the deck. This isn't Brigette. This isn't getting all of these basics like you could with Brigette. It's just not the way it goes. If you're playing a deck like Vikavolt, that's not good. Garbodor, that's not good. But Zoroark? Gardevoir? If you've got a 60 HP basic, this instantly becomes amazing. And it's going to put us in really awkward situations. So for instance, we talked about Sceptile the other day. And Sceptile looks really good. And Sceptile's got Grovyle, which has the same ability as the old Gabite, in that it can search out your grass Pokemon. You just really need to get all of your Trico out on turn 1. Now, the thing is, the best Trico we have at the moment is a 70 HP Trico. So what you're going to have to do is play the new Trico coming out with 60 HP, which to be fair does have a better attack, but you have to turn down the opportunity to have that extra 10 HP. There is also a 50 HP Trico, but I don't know why you'd go with that. The other thing to note here, and I don't think it's going to be that relevant most of the time, it doesn't put the Pokemon onto your bench, like we see with Brigette, it puts them into your hand. Now, if we see any coming into play abilities, think something like Hawlucha, that means they're in your hand, you can play them down and use the ability, which you wouldn't be able to do with a Brigette. Having said that, 60 HP Pokemon or fewer generally don't have coming into play abilities. Even Hawlucha's got 80 HP here. But it's something to bear in mind for the future. Certainly something like Pokemon Collector would be abused to get yourself a Tapu Lele for next turn, whereas Brigette never could. That's something we could use here. But it doesn't necessarily need to be for that. You could search them out so that you've got something to discard with an Ultra Ball, or so that you can discard Pokemon so that something like Vespiquen that does more damage per the number of Pokemon in your discard pile does more damage because there are more Pokemon in your discard pile. Or if you're playing a Zoroark deck, you could use this to search out free basics that you don't need anymore, so that you could then discard them all with trade and have some essentially easy trade bait. My point is, there are real advantages to having Pokemon going into your hand rather than putting them straight onto your bench. It's not Brigette or Pokemon Collector because it's limited to Pokemon with 60 HP or under. Okay. But the fact that it goes into your hand is great and gives you advantages you never had with Brigette. And also, if you're playing a deck that revolves around Pokemon that evolve from 60 HP Pokemon, and there's plenty of those decks out there, this is a really, really good card. Even though it's not up there with Brigette, I'm still giving it 5 Wassies. I think this is going to become a staple in a lot of decks, i.e. any evolving deck that has 60 HP basics, and I think it's so useful. We might even see some players moving away from 70 HP Pokemon, where they've got the option, playing 60 HP Pokemon just so they can take advantage of this. We aren't getting a new Brigette, but for some decks, this could be even better. Yes, this is technically a rumor and it's technically not confirmed, but like I say, this is the same kind of information I got from previous videos, which turned out to be true, so as far as I'm concerned, I am taking it as read. But tell me what you think this card is going to do to the metagame. Tell me how excited you are about this. Go nuts, but remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.